Pamela Anderson just called the creators of Hulu's Pam and Tommy series assholes and described their Emmy-nominated show as salt on the wound. But the real story behind this Hollywood feud goes much deeper than anyone realizes. While Hulu celebrated 10 Emmy nominations and massive profits from 31 million viewers, Pamela was reportedly hiding in her Vancouver home, unable to face interviews. And what she did to fight back will shock you. Here's exactly what happened that turned Pamela Anderson against one of Hollywood's biggest streaming platforms. In February 2022, Hulu released Pam and Tommy, an 8-episode limited series dramatizing her whirlwind romance with Tommy Lee and the theft of their private sex tape in 1995. The show starred Sebastian Stan as Tommy Lee and Lily James as Pamela Anderson, but here's the confirmed fact. Pamela had absolutely no involvement in the production and was never contacted for her consent. This is where the story flips entirely. While Hollywood was celebrating these achievements, Pamela was suffering in silence. Pamela Anderson's reaction was the complete opposite of Hollywood's celebration. According to Ryan White, director of her 2023 Netflix documentary, Pamela, A Love Story, Anderson was traumatized for months by the Hulu series. White revealed in interviews that the documentary crew was specifically instructed not to bring up the show around her because of how deeply it affected her. His exact words on record were, "She took that so hard and so emotionally. It was awful." Here's where it gets even more heartbreaking. White further revealed that Anderson couldn't even talk about it during the filming process. The Netflix documentary was filmed over several years, but Anderson consistently refused to discuss the Hulu series directly. But wait until you hear what she called the creators when she finally spoke out publicly. Let's break down Pamela's exact words, because her language reveals the depth of her fury. In her 2023 memoir, Love, Pamela, she wrote about the Hulu series. "I blocked that stolen tape out of my life in order to survive, and now that it's all coming up again, I feel sick." She called the show's approach in multiple interviews. In a February 2023 interview with The Guardian, she stated she would never ever watch the series. But here's the part Hulu never talks about. Do you think Pamela should have been legally required to give consent for this series? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because what I'm about to reveal about the legal reality will surprise you. The most shocking fact isn't what Pamela said. It's what she couldn't do legally. Despite her fury and public condemnation, Pamela Anderson never filed a lawsuit against Hulu, Disney, or the show's creators. No legal action was ever taken. And here's the part that will make you furious. And even if Pamela had the best legal team in the world, she never stood a chance. Not because she didn't have a case, but because the law was never written to protect her in the first place. Under First Amendment protections, public figures like Anderson have limited rights when it comes to biographical dramatizations of events already in the public record. The sex tape scandal was extensively covered in 1990s media, court records, and news reports, making it legally fair game for dramatization. Hulu didn't need Anderson's permission under current U.S. law. And this is where the gender dynamics become crucial. Here's what most people missed. Tommy Lee reportedly spoke with Sebastian Stan and was less critical of the series overall. While Pamela was traumatized and hiding from interviews, Tommy was engaging with the production and seemingly unbothered by the dramatization. This reveals how differently men and women experience having their intimate trauma turned into entertainment. Tommy got to be the bad boy, while Pamela was once again reduced to a victim. But here's where everything changes. And then while Hulu was collecting awards, Pamela Anderson was quietly planning a move that would blindside Hollywood forever. While Hulu celebrated awards season success, Pamela Anderson was developing her counter-narrative. On January 31st, 2023, Netflix released Pamela, A Love Story, Anderson's own documentary, directed by Ryan White. The timing was strategic, releasing exactly 1 year after the Hulu series premiered. This was Anderson's response to reclaim her narrative. The Netflix documentary was Anderson's first major interview project in years. She served as executive producer alongside her sons, giving her complete editorial control. The documentary covered her entire life story, from childhood through her activism, Unlike the Hulu series, which focused primarily on the sex tape scandal, Anderson's documentary contextualized that period within her broader life story. And this is where the real battle was won. The contrast between the two projects is stark. Hulu's Pam and Tommy was an unauthorized dramatization focusing on the most traumatic period of Anderson's life. Netflix's Pamela, A Love Story, was Anderson's own authorized documentary, allowing her to frame her experiences in her own words. The Netflix documentary received critical acclaim for Anderson's candid storytelling. But here's the part that will blow your mind about Anderson's strategy. Major entertainment publications praised her approach. Variety called it narrative reclamation, while The Hollywood Reporter noted it demonstrated the power of authentic storytelling over unauthorized dramatization. Here's where the impact becomes massive. The most significant result of this feud, it changed industry conversations about consent in biographical storytelling. While Hulu had legal rights to make Pam and Tommy, Anderson's public criticism sparked discussions about ethical responsibilities when dramatizing living people's trauma. Entertainment Weekly, The Hollywood Reporter, and Variety all published articles examining these ethics following Anderson's criticism. The Screen Actors Guild and Writers Guild of America have since held panel discussions about consent and representation in biographical projects. Though no official policy changes have been implemented, sources suggest this approach may influence how other celebrities handle unauthorized biographical projects, though the legal landscape remains unchanged. And this is where everything clicks into place. Anderson's strategy proved brilliant. Her Netflix documentary received critical acclaim and allowed her to control her narrative for the first time in decades. She didn't just complain about Pam and Tommy. She created a blueprint for fighting back against narratives you don't control. So what do you think? Was Pamela right to call out Hulu so harshly? Or should she have accepted that her story was already public? And here's the bigger question. Should there be new laws to protect people from having their most personal trauma turned into entertainment without their consent? If this deep dive into the facts behind Pamela Anderson's war with Hulu opened your eyes to the ethics of biographical storytelling, smash that like button and subscribe for more analysis beyond the headlines. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next story Hollywood doesn't want you to hear. And speaking of Pamela, in our next video, we're revealing how Pamela Anderson's sons are reacting to those explosive Liam Neeson romance rumors. And trust me, their response might surprise you. See you in the next one. And remember, when Pamela Anderson called that Hulu series Salt on the Wound, she wasn't just describing personal pain, she was issuing a wake-up call that Hollywood can no longer ignore. Sometimes the most powerful response to having your story stolen is to tell it yourself.